The place that I chose for my land stewardship project is Pamplona, Spain, home to the Encierra, the running with the bulls. One of the things that it makes Pamplona, Spain so special and that it is really known for is its rich culture in bullfighting. It's so rich in bullfighting culture that it even holds a yearly event held in July, which is famously known as the Encierro, or the Running with the Bulls. You've probably heard of it. And the Running with the Bulls is held during the city's week-long festival called the Feast of San Fermin. This is like a really sought out event that people look forward to all year long. They prepare for all year long. And it's really just a big party with the bulls that turns the city upside down for a whole week long. Having its roots near the Arga River, it's situated in an irrigated cereal producing area. So Pamplona is a flourishing agricultural center. And according to tradition, it was founded in 75 BC by Pompeius Magnus, or better known as Pompey, who's said to have founded the city, and he was also known as an enemy of Julius Caesar in Roman times. So this city really has deep roots in Roman culture and has a lot of history throughout the city. It was said that a new king of Navarro in the 11th century, after being nearly abandoned at one point, took over, and the soldiers of King Ferdinand of Aragon Castile eventually annexed the city into Spain. So, with a deep agricultural connection, the history of the running with the bulls dates back to the 13th century, when it was necessary for cattle herders to have a viable method of bringing their animals from the barges or the countryside into the urban areas to sell them or to fight them. So over time, it became almost customary for the wild animals to rush in hastily built enclosures in the bull ring only by being herded in there through people running behind them. So the bull run in Pamplona served as the most practical means of moving the animals from the municipal corral to the bull ring. So the townsfolk would prod and yell at the bulls, and they would get them all the way through the town to the bull ring. So with this gallivant through the city of the bulls became a tradition long before the San Fermin celebration. So it was really customary for them to run in front of and behind the bulls and direct them toward the ring. Although the exact beginning of the bull running in the area is still a matter of controversy, historians generally do agree that it began in Spain in the 1800s in this way. The herders accelerated the travel process by taking advantage of the animals' terror and enthusiasm as they were led down the street and into the bullpen. So the bull runs in Spain eventually evolved from this small town gathering that everybody was excited about into a big, big thing. A new competition or sport arose from this, and thousands of town residents would come to this show of bravado just to see them lead the bulls to the ring, and it would end at the end of the night with a bullfight. These bullfights eventually led to a culture that was rich in bullfighting and was focused around it. So they ended up holding the festival of San Fermin, which honored Saint Fermin, the city's first bishop and patron saint. And it's even said that he was arrested and condemned to the death penalty because of his faith. He was tied to a bull by his feet and dragged to his death. So it's really culturally tied into their spirituality, their agriculture, their work that they've done with these animals. And this festival is held for a whole week long where they gather, they do parades, they wear red and white in the spirit of Saint Firmin, and they just get into the culture of the land and the spirit of the history that is here. When considering Pamplona's connections to tourism, the main ones that I will point out will be that over 1 million tourists travel to Pamplona, Spain each year to be a part of the San Fermin Festival and the bull runs. It is literally a rush for some people. It's the excitement of a lifetime that they're never going to get anywhere else. People from all over the world, millions of people, travel here to participate in this festival and in the daily bull runs, which also has led to a spark worldwide in events that depict the Pamplona Bull Run. So people will hold their own events, and these events are depictions of the Pamplona Bull Run where they're either running with real bulls or they're just doing races where they're wearing red and white and things like that to honor the Pamplona Bull Run. So it has really went worldwide and is a tourism event not only in Pamplona, Spain, but all over. Some other connections to tourism or other reasons why people enjoy Pamplona would be their lush parks and their beautiful gardens, some of them which date as far back as Roman times. Today, they include stunning medieval architecture, museums, cathedrals, historic city buildings, and they even have great hiking trails and lively year-round nightlife with tons of restaurants and bars for people to enjoy. Some of the noteworthy places that I posted pictures of is the Grand Cathedral, the Palace of Navarra, the city walls, and the St. Nicholas Church. Each of these are really grounded in rich historical content and just provide so much for you to learn and to see. And I feel like these are great attractions for Pamplona that don't have to do with bullfighting. When considering the challenges that this site faces, a big one for me was the fact that there is 200 to 300 serious injuries yearly from the encierro. And it was even stated that last year there was about 16 deaths. So those are pretty large numbers for one event. And that can have serious effects, although we do have to consider that people do choose to come here and do this themselves. Another challenge that this event faces is that it's a huge cornerstone of the city's economic development during the time that it's happening. So the week that it's happening, it's very great. It's economically booming, but the other half of the year, or well, the other rest of the year, since it's only a week long, is having to recover from this. They are having to rebuild the whole year just to get back to where they need to be to hold the next encierro. So it is something that is kind of a question of, is it sustainable? Is this going to work in the long run for this city? With that, the final challenge that I will point out would have to be discussion of this event. Organizations like PETA stand against the use of living, breathing animals for the purpose of human entertainment, and they strongly advise people to reconsider supporting events like this. At the end of these bullfights, they do kill the bulls, and bad things do happen to these animals. So it can be a question of, is this morally right? How far are we willing to go? Do we consider these animals as sentient beings? And do we take their lives into account? The jeering that happens during the bull run. Just certain aspects like that come into the play of moral and ethical character. As far as my recommendations for the challenges that this site faces, when it comes to the issue of moral ground and standing, I would say that a system should be set in place to ensure the ethical treatment of the animals being used in the bull runs, and that the animals that are going to be led to slaughter at the end of this be ethically sourced. Every part of them should be used as replenishment for the land from the festivities that took place. The land should be able to use them. They should be sourced locally for the people to eat and to use, just to really give back to the community. With that, I also believe that during the week when the festival is taking place, a fundraiser should be held in order to account for the influx in costs of trash, water, etc. at the time that over 1 million people are coinciding in this town. So this should be set aside each year for the cleanup process and the regrowth throughout the year that needs to take place when people are not going to be in the town. In order to ensure that the culture of this land is respected, Pamplona can continue to immerse their festival and their bull runs in the rich culture that is of their land. They can teach the people who come to visit about their culture with their festivities. They can provide an insight into what makes them so special by sharing their special talents and arts during this time. Overall, they can just make sure to openly embrace their cultural practices in order to show the beauty in what they're doing so that others can respect and learn and understand their importance when visiting. In order to ensure that Pamplona remains the beautiful, culturally vibrant land that it is to this day, the citizens of Pamplona must put in place a plan to take care of and nurture their land in the time that it's not being used for tourism. They have a whole year to replenish the land, and their agriculture and farming is what this land is known for and is what can be used in order to make sure that they are still utilizing the land sustainably there when the crowds have died down. Taking advantage of the seasons and the agriculture that they have there, they can make sure to care for the land throughout the year and use some of the money that comes from their tourism spell to replenish the land in the off season.